The King of Staten Island is written and directed by Judd Apatow, the same producer behind a lot of my favorite comedies, and also an acclaimed screenwriter and director in his own right. He directed films like The 40-Year-Old Virgin and Knocked Up, two that really spring to mind. I love this film, really funny. And this film is the story of Scott, played by Pete Davidson, and he is basically an underachiever. He's been a case of arrested development ever since his father died when he was 7, and now he's in his mid-20s, and he is chasing a dream of becoming a tattoo artist that seems way too far out of reach. His younger sister has just graduated high school and heads off to live in the dorms at college, and Scott is still living at home with his mother, played by Marisa Tomei, and he spends his days mostly hanging out with his friends and smoking weed. However, when his mother starts dating a firefighter named Ray, played by Bill Burr, it forces Scott to grapple with his grief and take his first, very tentative steps towards acceptance and moving forward in life. Now, truth be told, I liked this film a lot more than I was expecting going in. And honestly, I feel like a lot of that is built around the performance of Pete Davidson. He's a comedian I've really enjoyed for years. I really love his work on SNL. And actually, the first time I saw Pete Davidson perform stand-up was actually on the Comedy Central roast of Justin Bieber. And he would also be on the dais the next year on the roast of Rob Lowe as well. Both of those sets really, really funny. Really sarcastically dark, which is the kind of stuff I enjoy. If you haven't seen those sets, definitely check them out. Now, on those roasts, members of the dais and Pete Davidson himself allude to the fact that unfortunately Davidson lost his father on 9/11. This film is actually dedicated to his father's memory, which I think is a very, very touching tribute and absolutely amazing. But like I said, what I like about Pete Davidson's comedy is his smugness and his subtlety and his sarcasm. And he is all of those things in this role. He plays an aspiring tattoo artist, and to put it nicely, the art isn't really all that good. He isn't that gifted at tattooing people when we first meet him. In fact, there's a really funny scene where one of his buddies shows him a tattoo of President Obama's face on it that Pete Davidson's character drew, and it's incredibly botched. Kind of got a chuckle out of me. But one thing I really like about this whole storyline, this whole gimmick of an aspiring tattoo artist, is that his drawings and his art evolve along with himself. I honestly felt that was a really nice touch. His arc was super endearing, and I really, really enjoyed his performance overall. Marisa Tomei is also in this film as Scott's mother, Marge, essentially a rated R version of the MCU's Aunt May. And she is fantastic as well, as per usual. Admittedly, Bill Burr is an actor I haven't really seen much of, but I thought his performance was very good as well. It led to a really, really neat arc for him, and also a really, really neat dynamic with Pete Davidson's character especially. And his chemistry with both Davidson and Tomei was very convincing. I really bought his performance. Now, I've been noticing that one major complaint about this film is the length. This film has a runtime of 2 hours and 16 minutes, which seems a little bit unorthodox for a comedy. I mean, you would expect that runtime usually on like a Marvel film, for example, but not for like a raunchy comedy like The King of Staten Island. And honestly, that brings me to my next point about this film. If you want my advice, go into this film not expecting a raunchy comedy like a Step Brothers. This is in no way a knock on Step Brothers because I absolutely love that film. It's super funny. But don't expect as much raunch with this film. Expect more like I don't know what a good comparison is, like a Superbad, maybe. Or even Knocked Up, which I mentioned earlier, which, by the way, a lot of people forget is only 7 minutes shorter than the runtime of The King of Staten Island. I honestly don't like to compare films to other films, but point being, don't go into this film expecting what you see in a lot of the trailers. I didn't watch a single trailer for The King of Staten Island, and look at how much I enjoyed it. That's honestly a question I get a lot, is my thoughts on trailers these days, and they can tend to be very misleading, honestly. I tend to avoid trailers as much as I can, unless it's for a movie I'm really, really excited about, like an Avengers, or I get to the movie theater early and I get there in time for the previews, and that's what's on. But with all that being said, getting back to the length, I personally didn't mind it. Actually, I wanted a little bit more from this film. I was really invested in these characters and seeing where the story was going to go. And that leads me to, personally, my biggest issue with this film, and that's the ending. To me, it felt a little bit too abrupt. And I wanted maybe just, I don't know, like maybe one more scene. I don't know. Again, nitpicks. Nevertheless, this film was a very pleasant surprise. I very much enjoyed The King of Staten Island, and I'm going to give it a B+. I'm shocked in the best way. What else is there to say? This is easily Judd Apatow's best film since Knocked Up, and I definitely feel like it's a movie worth watching. It's on VOD right now. At least watch it once. It's a very endearing narrative overall. It's an extremely investing story. It's anchored by Pete Davidson's highlight performance, and I'm so happy he got that. Yeah, watch it. Thank you so much as always for watching, guys. Don't forget to sound off in the comments section below with your thoughts about the King of Staten Island. And also, if you guys have any requests for films that you would like me to do, retro or otherwise, let me know. Also, keep an eye out for my other new film reviews for Artemis Fowl and The Five Bloods. And also look forward to either late Sunday or early Monday morning for my review of WWE Backlash. I'm going to be bringing on my buddy Tomas onto the show to break it all down after the show airs live on Sunday night. Very exciting stuff coming up, guys. And if you're enjoying what you're seeing from me, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button down below, share this video with all your friends, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button as hard as you possibly can if you haven't already. Really helps out this channel. You guys rock, honestly. Thank you so much as always for tuning in. And with all that being said, Back Talk, commence!